Jack Harper stared out the viewport as the transport ship approached the Galactic Federation Academy. The massive ring-shaped space station gleamed against the backdrop of stars, its silver hull reflecting the light of a nearby blue giant. Jack's stomach did backflips. Though whether from excitement or the decreasing artificial gravity, he couldn't tell. First human at the Academy, huh? The pilot, a four-armed Quasarian with skin the color of a blueberry smoothie, gave him a skeptical once-over. Hope your bones don't snap on day one. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Jack replied, patting the pilot's upper right shoulder. I'll try not to embarrass the species. The docking procedure took 17 minutes, Jack counted before the airlock hissed open. A wave of scents hit him, metallic, organic, and something like cinnamon crossed with gasoline. The welcoming committee consisted of a single being, tall and insectoid, with compound eyes that reflected Jack's surprised expression back at him in multiple tiny versions. Cadet Harper. I am Lieutenant Xerx. Follow. Each word sounded like it was being forced through a cheese grater. Jack hefted his regulation duffel bag packed with the bare essentials plus one contraband jar of peanut butter and followed the lieutenant through corridors teeming with aliens of all shapes, sizes, and states of matter. One cadet appeared to be a sentient cloud of gas wearing a uniform. This is, wow. Jack tried not to gawk as a six-legged cadet with tentacles for arms slithered past. You will be assigned to Dormitory Complex 7, Level 3, Unit 42. Lieutenant Xerx didn't slow down or look back. Your roommate is Cadet Krillax. The commander wishes to see you once you've settled. Jack's quarters were sparse: 2 sleeping platforms, 2 storage units, and a viewport showing the endless sea of stars. On one of the platforms lounged a reptilian creature with iridescent scales and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle on its face. So you're the human, Krillax's forked tongue flicked out, tasting the air. Smaller than I expected. I get that a lot. Jack tossed his bag onto the empty platform. Jack Harper. I know who you are. Everyone knows. The soft-skinned, weak-boned creature from the backwater planet. Krillax's scales shimmered as he sat up. No offense. None taken, I guess? Word of advice, human. Commander Vex Thor hates your kind. Something about an ancestor losing a trade deal with Earth. Krillax's middle eye winked. He's going to try to break you. Looking forward to it, Jack said with more confidence than he felt. Commander Vex Thor turned out to be a hulking figure with slate-gray skin stretched over muscle and bone like granite. His 4 eyes too large, too small, fixed on Jack like targeting lasers. Harper, he growled, your presence here is a political gesture, nothing more. I don't expect you to last a week. Thank you, sir. I'll try for 2. The words escaped before Jack could stop them. Vex Thor's face hardened. Your training begins tomorrow at 0600 hours. We'll see how funny you are then. He leaned forward, his massive desk groaning under his weight. Humans are soft. This academy is not. Dismissed. Met. As Jack left the office, he caught the commander tapping something into his console, a grim smile playing across his stony features. Whatever Vex Thor had planned, Jack had a feeling it would be a gravitational awakening. Training Room 12 was a cavernous chamber with glowing grid lines on the floor and walls. Jack arrived 2 minutes early, standing awkwardly among 15 alien cadets who gave him a wide berth, as if humanity might be contagious. A door slid open and Commander Vex Thor strode in, followed by a willowy female alien with pale blue skin and almond-shaped silver eyes. Cadets, Vex Thor's voice boomed. Today begins your physical adaptation training. I've adjusted the gravity settings for each species' optimal challenge level. His smallest eyes flicked toward Jack. Some of you might find it crushing. The blue-skinned alien stepped forward. I'm Engineer Lyra. I'll be monitoring your biometrics during adaptation training. Her voice was melodic, almost like wind chimes. She smiled at Jack with what seemed like genuine curiosity. "Begin." Vexthor barked. The floor beneath Jack hummed, and suddenly his body felt exactly the same. He looked around in confusion as several alien cadets had already dropped to all available limbs, struggling against invisible weight. "Something wrong with my section?" Jack asked, jumping up and down experimentally. Engineer Lyra consulted her tablet. "You're at 1.2 times Earth gravity, Cadet Harper." "Oh." Jack started the assigned exercise routine, jumping jacks, push-ups, and something called quantum lunges that he was pretty sure the translator got wrong. "That's basically what I work out at back home." Vexthor's scowl deepened. "Increase Harper's gravity to 1.5. A slight heaviness settled over Jack's limbs. Getting there, he called out cheerfully, continuing his exercises while sweat began to bead on his forehead. By the end of the session, Jack was at 2.3 times Earth gravity, breathing hard but still standing. Several alien cadets had been carried off to the medical bay. Krillax, who turned out to be from a low-gravity moon, looked at Jack with newfound respect. "How are you still moving?" Krillax wheezed. "My ancestors are calling me to the eternal swamps." "Earth has higher gravity than most habitable worlds," Jack explained, helping his roommate stand. "Plus, I grew up in Colorado. The air's thin there." Over the next week, Jack's legend grew. Commander Vexthor kept cranking up the gravity, and Jack kept adapting. At 3G, he was sore but functional. At 4G, he modified his exercises but completed them. Alien cadets started watching his sessions, making wagers on when he'd finally break. "The betting pool is up to 5,000 credits, Krillax informed him after the 10th day. "Most think you'll collapse tomorrow when Vexthor hits you with 5G. Draws is organizing it." "Draws?" Jack asked, applying a healing gel to his aching muscles. "The Taurid with the luminescent tendrils. Thinks he's elite because his species has 3 hearts." Krillax's scales darkened with disgust. "He's betting heavily against you." Engineer Lyra found Jack in the mess hall that evening. She sat across from him, ignoring the stares from other cadets. "Your physiological responses are fascinating," she said without preamble. "Your bones are growing denser. Your muscle tissue is adapting at an accelerated rate." Jack swallowed a mouthful of what the cafeteria claimed was protein supplement but tasted like burnt marshmallows mixed with soy sauce. "Is that good?" "It's unprecedented," Lyra leaned forward. "No species we've encountered adapts this quickly to gravitational stress." She lowered her voice. "Be careful. Vexthor is taking this personally now. He's determined to find your breaking point." "Let him try," Jack grinned, though his shoulders ached with every movement. "Humans are stubborn that way." As Jack left the mess hall, he felt a subtle shift in the atmosphere. Aliens who had previously avoided him now watched with interest. Some nodded respectfully. One small, gelatinous cadet even asked for training tips. Jack Harper, the human curiosity, was becoming Jack Harper, the legend. By the 3rd week, Commander Vexthor had abandoned all pretense of fairness. Jack entered training room 12 to find it empty except for the commander and Lyra. "Special session, Harper," Vexthor announced, his tone dangerously pleasant. "Today we start at 5G and work our way up." Lyra's silver eyes widened. "Commander, the protocol states—" "I know the protocol, Engineer," Vexthor cut her off. "Cadet Harper has demonstrated exceptional ability. We're adjusting accordingly." Jack felt the crushing weight descend immediately. His knees buckled, but he caught himself before hitting the floor. Every breath became a conscious effort, his lungs straining against the pressure. "Problem, Cadet." Vexthor's voice dripped with satisfaction. "Just getting warmed up, sir." Jack forced himself into a standing position, his face reddening with effort. He began the standard exercises, moving at half speed. Lyra monitored her tablet with increasing concern. His heart rate is approaching dangerous levels. Noted in the log, Vexthor replied dismissively. Increased to 5.5 G. Jack felt like he was wearing armor made of lead. Each step became a battle against nature itself. But something strange was happening. His body was adapting minute by minute. What felt impossible at first became merely excruciating after 10 minutes. Word spread throughout the academy. By the time Jack finished his 2-hour session at 6G, crawling the last circuit on hands and knees, but completing it, the observation deck was packed with alien cadets and instructors. "You're insane," Krillax told him later as Jack lay flat on his sleeping platform, applying medical patches to his strained muscles. Gloriously insane. "It's not about being tough," Jack winced as he shifted position. "It's about not giving that four-eyed rock the satisfaction." Krillax's scales flickered in the reptilian equivalent of laughter. "You realize you started something, right? 3 more Earth universities have submitted applications for human cadets next term." "Great," Jack groaned. "I'm going to be responsible for the deaths of my fellow humans." The next day, Jack discovered that someone had tampered with his environmental suit before the underwater navigation exercise. The oxygen mixture was diluted, causing him to nearly drown before he realized something was wrong. He dragged himself out of the training pool, coughing up strange-colored water. "Accidents happen," sneered Draws, his tendrils pulsing with malicious light. "Maybe gravity isn't your only weakness, human." Jack noticed other sabotage attempts, training equipment mysteriously recalibrated, nutrient supplements that made him violently ill, training schedules altered to deny him recovery time. Through it all, Commander Vexthor watched with cold satisfaction, always pushing the gravity higher. After a particularly brutal session at 6.5 G, Lyra found Jack in the medical bay. "This has gone too far," she said, slipping him an unauthorized pain relief patch. "I filed 3 safety protocol violations, but Vexthor has friends in the administration." "Why does he hate humans so much?" Jack asked, applying the patch to his lower back. "His species, the Voltari, were once in negotiations with Earth for rare mineral rights," Lyra explained. "Your diplomats outmaneuvered them. They lost billions and considerable status." She hesitated. "Vexthor's grandfather took his own life after the failure." Jack absorbed this information silently. The next day, he approached his training with renewed determination, completing a full hour at 7G while looking Vexthor directly in the eyes. That night, Krillax woke him urgently. "They're talking about putting you at 8G tomorrow," he hissed. "No one survived that except Voltari military elites with extensive cybernetic reinforcement." "Then it's time to get creative," Jack replied, already formulating a plan. The rumor of the 8G test spread through the academy like wildfire. When Jack entered training room 12 the following day, the observation deck was standing room only. He spotted Krillax, who gave him a subtle nod. Their plan was in motion. Commander Vexthor stood in the center of the room, looking like a statue carved from malevolent stone. "Cadet Harper. Today's session will test the limits of your species' much-vaunted adaptability." "Looking forward to it, sir," Jack replied, his face a mask of confidence despite the fear coursing through him. Lyra stood nearby, her silver eyes clouded with worry. "Commander, I must officially register my protest. Our simulations indicate potential organ damage at these levels without proper." Noted engineer Vexthor cut her off. "Begin the test." The familiar hum of the gravity generators crescendoed to a deep throbbing sound that Jack felt in his bones. Then the weight hit him like a collapsing building. Jack collapsed to his hands and knees immediately, fighting for each breath. The pressure on his chest was immense, like being at the bottom of an ocean. He could hear murmuring from the observation deck, saw credits changing hands as bets were collected. Still smiling, Cadet. Vex Thor's voice seemed to come from far away. With monumental effort, Jack raised his head and forced his lips into what he hoped resembled a smile. Just getting started, sir. He began to crawl forward, one agonizing movement at a time. Blood vessels burst in his eyes, giving them a crimson tint. Sweat poured from his body in streams. His core temperature is rising dangerously, Lyra reported, her voice tight with concern. Blood pressure approaching critical levels. Can you continue, Cadet? Vex Thor asked, his tone suggesting he already knew the answer. More, sir, Jack gasped, now flat on his stomach but still inching forward, leaving a trail of sweat on the training room floor. Give me more. Something flashed across Vex Thor's face, surprise, perhaps even a grudging respect. Increased to 8.5 G. The additional weight crushed Jack to the floor. He felt something pop in his shoulder, a white-hot lance of pain that momentarily cleared the fog from his brain. His vision narrowed to a pinpoint, the edges darkening. Commander, stop this immediately. Lyra's voice had risen to a shout. His vital signs are. The rest of her words were lost as Jack's consciousness began to fade. With his last remaining strength, he forced his right arm forward, dragging his body another few centimeters across the floor. Then, just as planned, he triggered the hidden medical emergency beacon Krillax had procured for him. Alarms blared throughout the facility. The gravity abruptly returned to normal as emergency medical protocols overrode the training room settings. Jack gasped as his lungs expanded fully for the first time in minutes. The last thing he saw before passing out was a team of medical personnel rushing in, and behind them, Commander Vex Thor's face no longer triumphant, but concerned and perhaps even guilty. Jack woke 3 days later in the Academy Medical Bay. His entire body felt like it had been run over by a transport shuttle, then backed up on for good measure. To his surprise, Lyra was sitting beside his bed, reviewing data on a holographic display. Welcome back, she said, her silver eyes brightening. You've caused quite a stir. Did I break? Jack's voice was a raspy whisper, and a manner of speaking. Lyra manipulated the display to show a scan of Jack's body, but not in the way anyone expected. She pointed to his skeletal structure, which glowed with unusual density patterns. Your bones have restructured at the molecular level. Your muscle tissue has developed new fiber patterns we've never seen before. Is that good? It's evolutionary, Lyra replied, her voice filled with scientific excitement. Your body adapted in real time to conditions that should have killed you. I've been authorized to publish a paper on human physiological responses to gravitational stress. Glad to be a useful lab rat, Jack croaked, attempting to sit up. The door slid open, and Academy Director Voss entered, a dignified being with crystalline features that refracted light in hypnotic patterns. Cadet Harper. The director's voice resonated like crystal wind chimes. Commander Vex Thor has been relieved of training duties pending investigation into safety protocol violations. It wasn't entirely his fault, Jack said, surprising himself with the defense. I kept asking for more. Regardless, changes will be made. The director's crystalline face was unreadable. Rest and recover, Cadet. Your performance has been noted. As the director left, Jack turned to Lyra. How long until I can return to training? Lyra's expression softened. Always the human question, not if, but when. She checked her data tablet. At your current rate of recovery and adaptation, 3 days. Jack smiled through his pain. Perfect. Jack's return to the training floor 2 weeks later sent ripples of anticipation through the academy. News of his survival and adaptation had spread to every corner of the station, even prompting an official statement from the Galactic Federation Council about reviewing species capability classifications. Training Room 12 had been modified with enhanced safety protocols and monitoring equipment. Jack's new instructor, a pragmatic Centaurian named Officer Trell, greeted him with cautious respect. "We're starting at 3G today, Cadet Harper," Trell announced. "Medical has approved a gradual progression back to higher levels." "Thank you, sir," Jack replied, noticing his body felt different, stronger, more compact somehow. The weeks of extreme gravity had changed him in ways that were still revealing themselves. The observation deck was packed again, but this time the mood was different. No betting, just curious observation. Jack spotted Krillax giving him a thumbs up, a human gesture his roommate had adopted. At 3G, Jack felt almost comfortable. By the end of the session, they had worked up to 5G, and Jack was still moving with controlled precision. What had once been his breaking point now felt manageable. Draws cornered Jack in the corridor afterward, his luminescent tendrils pulsing with anger. "You cheated somehow," he hissed. "No species adapts that quickly." "Sounds like someone lost a lot of credits," Jack replied evenly. "You've made a mockery of the Academy's traditions," Draws continued, his 3 hearts visibly pounding beneath his translucent chest. "I challenge you to the proving grounds. Tomorrow." Full Academy audience. The proving grounds were rarely used, an ancient tradition where cadets could settle disputes through a series of physical and mental challenges. Refusing a challenge was tantamount to admitting inferiority. "I accept," Jack said, ignoring the pain still lingering in his rebuilt body. News of the challenge spread instantly. By evening, the entire Academy was buzzing with anticipation. Krillax was horrified. "You're still recovering," his roommate protested. "Draws has been training for this his entire life. The Taurids see the proving grounds as a sacred rite of passage." "Then I'd better not embarrass humanity," Jack replied with more confidence than he felt. Lyra found him in the hydration chamber later that night. "I've been analyzing your latest scans," she said without preamble. "Your adaptation isn't stopping. It's accelerating." She showed him the data. His bone density had increased by 37%. His muscle fiber arrangement had reconfigured for maximum efficiency under pressure. Even his blood cells had changed shape to carry oxygen more effectively. "You're evolving in response to the gravitational stress," she explained. "Something in human physiology allows for rapid adaptation that we've never seen in any other species. But will it help me tomorrow?" Lyra's silver eyes gleamed. "It already has." The Proving Grounds was an ancient arena at the heart of the Academy, rarely used but maintained as a tribute to the Federation's warrior past. The entire Academy turned out for the event: cadets, instructors, support staff, even Director Voss. Jack was surprised to see Commander Vex Thor in attendance, watching from a corner with an unreadable expression. The challenges were brutal tests of strength, endurance, tactical thinking, and reaction time. Draws moved with fluid grace, his 3 hearts giving him extraordinary stamina. But Jack had something else: his newly adapted physiology and an understanding of leverage and momentum that came from growing up under Earth's relentless gravity. The final challenge involved withstanding increasing gravitational pressure while solving complex navigational equations. As the gravity climbed past 6G, then 7G, then 8G, Draws began to falter. Jack, drawing on his recent experiences, remained functional. At 9G, a level that would have killed him weeks earlier, Jack completed the final equation while Draws lay immobilized on the arena floor. The crowd fell silent, then erupted in thunderous applause that transcended species. Later, in the celebration that followed, Lyra presented her findings to the Academy's Scientific Council. "Human adaptive capability exceeds all known parameters," she announced. "I propose a new classification for Earth and its inhabitants." Jack found Commander Vex Thor standing alone, watching the proceedings with complex emotions playing across his stony face. "I owe you an apology, Cadet Harper," Vex Thor said stiffly. "My judgment was compromised by personal history. You pushed me to my breaking point, Jack replied. Then I adapted. Isn't that what the Academy is about? A flicker of respect appeared in Vex Thor's 4 eyes. Indeed it is, Cadet. Indeed it is. 6 months later, Jack Harper stood at attention as Director Voss placed the graduation medal around his neck. The ceremony was being broadcast across the Galactic Federation, the first human to graduate from the Academy, and as valedictorian no less. Cadet Harper's performance has necessitated a re-evaluation of our understanding of species potential, Director Voss announced, crystalline features catching the light. Today we implement the Harper Protocol for adaptive training throughout all Federation facilities. Jack glanced at the front row where Krillax sat alongside Lyra, both beaming with pride. Even Commander Vex Thor, reinstated after a review, found that Jack had indeed consented to the extreme training, offered a respectful nod. In recognition of exceptional service to xenophysiology, Director Voss continued, we also award Engineer Lyra the Federation's Science Medal for her groundbreaking research on human adaptive capabilities. Lyra's blue skin flushed purple with emotion as she accepted her honor. After the ceremony, Jack found himself surrounded by well-wishers of various species. Many had once bet against him, now they sought his training advice. Draws approached, his tendrils subdued. Your capabilities honor the Academy, the Taurid said formally. I request permission to study your training methods before my assignment to the Border Fleet. Granted, Jack replied, extending his hand in the human gesture of reconciliation. After a moment's hesitation, Draws wrapped a tendril around it. Commander Vex Thor was the last to approach. You've been assigned to the Pathfinder Division, he informed Jack. Your first mission departs in 3 days. Jack raised an eyebrow. Pathfinder? Isn't that your division commander? Indeed. Vex Thor's expression softened slightly. It seems appropriate that I continue to push your limits, Cadet. Now, Officer Harper. I look forward to it, sir. Jack grinned. Just don't forget, when you crank up the gravity, I just ask for more. As they spoke, a transport ship docked at the Academy. Jack watched as the airlock opened and 5 humans, 3 women, 2 men stepped onto the station, looking around with the same wonder he had felt months earlier. The second wave, Krillax observed, joining Jack. Look at the instructors' faces, pure terror. Jack laughed. They should be afraid. Those 5 probably ran marathons for fun back on Earth. As the new human cadets were led away for processing, Jack spotted a group of alien instructors huddled together, frantically reviewing data tablets and casting nervous glances at the newcomers. Think they'll try the gravity trick again? Krillax asked. Jack smiled, watching the humans stride confidently into their new lives among the stars, completely unaware of the legend that preceded them. Oh, I'm counting on it, he said. In fact, I might suggest they start at 10G. Just to save time,